Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday morning trading session. TGIF and all that. The market's just opened up. You can see here in a moment. We've got the NASDAQ here on a little bit of a tear from the overnight session. Let's take a look here on the Falcon. The market waffled pretty much the entire day yesterday, and then in the overnight, we got a trend change signal here on the Falcon, finally broke outside of the range. I want to show you something. When we got outside of the range, we got that test and retest signal, and then the market rallied to where it's at right now. Now, a lot of times, while this is going to look like an opening gap, right? The market left off way down here, opens way up here. This is going to look like a great big opening gap to everybody this morning. The thing with opening gaps is sometimes they're seen as acceleration gaps. Other times they're fading gaps where the market will try to get back into here. But at the moment, we are in a little bit of an uptrend, no doubt about that. Soybeans also pushing higher this morning, and crude oil also pushing higher. So it seems like everybody wants to finish the week on a strong note. Okay. Well, I guess we just got to wait a few moments for the opening flurry to die down a little bit. Hmm. They're still holding their own here. I'm impressed. We do have a bit of a macro pullback signal here on the NQ. And I mentioned the other day how you can actually treat these signals as counter trend signals also. And what I mean by that is a failure of a macro pullback signal, right? We're expecting the macro pullback signal to go higher. This is what our trade would look like. But you can also set it up as a failure. We don't do that normally because if this market is turning over, we'll get a red bar buy that we can sell. We'll get a first micro macro cross that we should be able to sell. You don't usually want to go looking for counter trend trades. Well, usually you don't. You don't want to be looking for counter trend trades. All right, here we go. The Falcon is starting to give us an early trend change signal. Now, once again, this is not the type of thing that you want to get too crazy on because this market is in an uptrend. And you see how it's building here? This could work itself into a bull flag type of arrangement. So just because you're starting to get red bars here and stuff, and you know I'm naturally kind of bearish on the NASDAQ and the stock indices lately, doesn't mean that you want to go crazy to the downside. What I'll do is I'll probably dial down my risk a little bit. And of course, it's probably going to take another 5 or 6 minutes to put that trade together, and then it's going to fall squarely in at quarter to the hour. Where I seem to get that sucker signal. All right, here we go. Falcon's going to trip here and give us a trend change signal. There's the warning dot. I wonder where that triangle and hash mark are going to print. Oh, we do have a warning dot above it. Okay, so I'm going to anticipate. So we have a warning dot on this bar here. I know it's hard to see. Working on a possible warning dot here also. I would dearly love to see some support come into this market. This would be a great place to sell it. Okay, we're getting warmer. All right, well, there's the signal. And we took a little bit of slip on this. Here they go. Come on. Come on, NQ. Keep going. Oh, they're going to throw in a swing after all, right at the, just above our profit target. And is that the primary resistance line? Yes, it is. From our support and resistance suite. All right, working on the first micro-macro cross here in the hawk, but it's the same kind of deal. We haven't really seen a decent test of the extreme. You could certainly set up to take the failure. I'd probably hold my stop for a moment. Take the failure below the low. We'll see if they're going to try to get into that open that opening gap or not, or if that gap is going to actually lend a little bit of support. Well, I was thinking they would move here into a macro pullback. They've since moved into yellow bars, so I'm going to cancel that order, see if this doesn't develop into a green bar sell. This is starting to look like this is our test to the extreme. Problem is this market, like I say, is still very much in an uptrend, so we need to be respectful of the trend and be a little bit careful about being too aggressive to the short side, at least until the market shows us that it's ready to continue lower. Okay, now this isn't something that we've done very often, and I'm going to confess here I'm experimenting with the Raptor, but I've been watching the yellow bars in relation to each other, the swing points. I'm going to see whether or not we can get in here with a sell order. This would be like our counter trend signal, and what I was looking at is the solid red signal against the bullish band. Occasionally we get a solid in a downtrend. Well, we won't find one yesterday because the market wasn't trending. But occasionally in a downtrend we're going to get a solid blue signal, and that also tends to be counter trend. Now I'm going to hold my stop here for a moment. We'll take it above that little swing high there. So it's a little experiment. We'll see how that works out. Still looking for a first micro-macro cross signal here in the NASDAQ. It looks like we're going to get one right about there. And this might be one worth dialing down too, because this market could very well come back with another buy signal. So here we are now into macro pullback phase. Let's see if we'll just take this one on a runner. Oop, we're moving into yellow bars again. Well, it's a little bit like yesterday. I'm not real happy with the lack of structure that we're seeing here at the moment. See, the longer this goes without giving us a real test of the extreme, the more this starts to look like a bull flag to me. Of course, if we see a failure here at this support area, then we should be good for lower prices. But right now, so you see here the eagle is coming in with that buy signal. And while I don't normally set my trades contrary to each other, there is a chance here. The trade forecaster is saying we've got trend mode for the better part of, well, about an hour and 20 minutes. Hour and a half. Sorry, hour and a half. All right, let's throw that order in there. The problem with doing this, with taking one trade long, one trade short, and we're not long just yet, is that obviously one of these trades are going to fail, right? Which is why I don't usually do it. In most cases, see, there, if this market reverses and heads higher, well, I suppose the winning trade from one would offset the losing trade from the other. It's almost like a hedge. We've got a lot of potential to the downside here, but oops. away for a second and we got that green bar sell. Darn it. Boy, they're waffling. Okay, now on the Raptor, we've been watching yellow bars, how they relate to each other. And it's kind of encouraging to see the yellow bars printing lower. This does make me think we're going to see a double pullback into the hard edge, which would be fine with me. The Falcon here starting to give us a little bit of a trend change signal to the upside. I'm debating rolling my stop, but the problem was the other day I got a little aggressive with my stops and I kept stopping myself out. Okay, I'm going to scrub the buy order there. Now, now watch it rally. Yeah, scoundrels. There they go. Well, the only good thing about this trade here is that we are covering above the high. So if this market is in fact making a test of the extreme now, there is still an opportunity, but it is looking a little bit on the bullish side, no question about that. was really hoping the market would be finished with its waffling from the other day, but I guess not. Not yet anyway. Well, crude oil's kind of gone flat since the early rally that we saw. So the market opened way down here, put in a stiff rally, and then like the stock market, oh, actually we had a little shot up there, but it's been kind of sideways, working on a possible trend change signal here. This is a touch on the aggressive side. So the signal's actually printing here, 1, 2, 3, 4 ticks. 4 ticks to get the entry below the low. It's only $40 in crude. That's not a lot in this market. And I was actually going to go with a stop limit order. Crude being crude. So again, not the best looking setup. You know, whenever you see the market waffling back and forth, looking like an amusement park ride, here's the hawk, which You know, you see a bunch of yellow bars coming in, your filter's starting to break up. That just tells you that we're losing some structure. So crude oil did bring us into that trade. What I'm going to do is, because the market is still waffling a bit, I'm going to go with the swing strategy. But notice we did get slipped a tick. I had the stop limit order in play, which limited the slippage to a single tick, and it looks like we needed it. Now that we're through here, we're just settled on the secondary resistance line. If we can ride out this current little swing, this reaction to breaking the low here, remember when we break a support or resistance area, we normally anticipate a little bit of a reaction and then possibly a move lower. I could see crude oil getting all the way down here, say to 46.45, maybe even the low around 46.40. Okay, here's the Raptor again printing lower yellow bars relative to the last set of yellow bars. So still encouraging that we find ourselves on the right side of this trade. This is now looking much more like a test of the extreme. Okay, here the hawk, a lot of yellow bars. Definite sideways market. We're, currently short. I got a little bit more aggressive here, but the thing to do would be to let it break out, retest, and then either head higher or lower. Oh, are they going to make us sweat this the whole session? Here they come again with some buying. Let's see here where the hmm. Oops. Soybeans on a little bit of a move higher today. So we had a trend change signal here shortly after the market opened. The nice thing about soybeans is once they settle on a direction, they pretty much stick to it. So it took a little bit of heat on this pullback here, bounced off of the primary resistance and just continued higher. Crude finally fell off enough to find our profit target in our Falcon trade. It too was waffling quite a bit. So we sold from here. They finally hit our profit objective. We'll see whether they can get down here to 46.45, 46.40. But I'm just happy to be out of that one. Well, it's coming up on the 10:30 mark, the bottom of the hour. Sometimes we see things shape up or shake up. Okay, I think we can finally engage our stops. In fact, I think I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive with my stop here yet. We've been here a couple of times. We've bounced. We're back at this morning's low. We are getting a first micro macro cross here, but you see we're at the bottom end of the trading range. Just doesn't look like they're really committed to doing much today. Okay, so we've drifted down to the hard edge. We're getting a red bar buy, which is not very encouraging. I think I'm going to hold this back at the top end of the range where we had it. Didn't really get that double pullback signal yet on the Raptor. No. So this red bar buy that I was looking at here, this was giving me pause because, well, the red bar buy is actually a pretty strong signal, and you can see it had enough follow through to at least force the market back to this morning's highs. I don't think we would have hit our profit objective there yet. No, not yet. Just not much going on this morning. Looks like all the big moves came during the overnight. I should have ignored the NASDAQ this morning and paid attention to the soybean market. That's the one where all the action is today, which is rare for Friday, that you see soybeans make such a strong move going into the weekend. This is soybeans, of course, on the Falcon. We also had soybeans here on the Hawk. Macro pullback signal right here. Another macro pullback signal here. We tend to only get two within a trend, so this second big rally, if we get a third macro pullback signal here, I start to get a little bit suspicious about it. Well, there's really not much to show this morning. So here we've broken out of the top side. Well, the top side, the tighter range, in fact. The way the market is this morning, I think I would make it break here and then retest and then buy. So long as it's trading within this range, it's going to be very difficult to take any type of signal. I was disappointed that this Raptor signal didn't follow through. I'd seen this one before where you get a full red against a bullish band or a full blue signal against a bearish band. And a lot of times it results in a very nice counter trend move back to the hard edge. And I thought we had it. We had the yellow bars here in our favor, but it just bottomed out short of the hitting the hard edge and instead bounced and made a little bit of a rally. So I might be taking that particular signal out of the Raptor assortment. That's a couple times that signal has failed on me now. The YM a little bit better behaved than the NASDAQ, but not by much. We got a with trend signal here coming out of the band. This also coincided with the NQ signal. The NQ wasn't quite as strong here as the YM. Yeah, even crude oil is just perfectly happy going sideways. Well, we'll give them another 15 minutes here to sort themselves out. If things don't shake up by then, I think it's probably time to call it a day. So you can see what happened here. We're bouncing off of the hard edge. So what's going on right now is traders are just selling the top end, buying the bottom end. We're not generating signals there because it's, well, technically it's a choppy market, right? It's a sideways market. We tend not to produce any signals when the market is going sideways like this. They are showing up with a red bar buy. That's pretty interesting. Well, they're perfectly happy just waffling here between today's highs and lows. Which admittedly is a little bit unusual, especially in light of yesterday's session and Wednesday's incredible rally. Generally speaking, the market is bullish, but I don't know, we don't have any signals to trade. Soybeans giving us the beginnings of a trend change signal here on the Falcon, but again, not something you want to get too crazy with. Could there be a little profit taking here and a little bit of a dip lower? Definitely. Are we going to see a full-blown reversal? Probably not. And we'll give the NQ here just a couple more minutes to break out of this range, and if it doesn't, well, I think we're going to call it an early weekend. If you are trading this afternoon, I really suspected that we would see this market break into the opening range gap. I really thought we would see this market trade lower. I suppose what you could do, first micro macro cross signals printing right here. If you had, see, it's almost all the way to our profit objective. If we break this low here, we will very likely challenge these lows right here. So you could set up a sell order. 1% of your account, it's not, or 1% of my account, not a deal breaker. Obviously, we haven't seen a test of the extreme here yet. There's all kinds of things suggesting this is going to be just another bounce back. And it's hardly an attractive trade. All these yellow bars here, like I said, the smart thing to do is let it get outside of this range. Get outside, retest, come back. That's the smart thing to do. Now, the further this drifts back, the more it begins to look like a test of the extreme, right? In which case, if we see like a macro pullback or something right about here, then there might be enough room to realize a profit before we get back down to these support levels. But now we're back into yellow bars, so that pretty much kills that idea. All right, you guys, I think we're going to pack up the room. There's very little momentum either higher or lower. If you are insisting on trading today, I think what you want to do is you want to wait for the market to get outside of those ranges and then place your order accordingly. But don't be surprised if we see the market continue sideways for the rest of the session. My own personal bias is to see a breakdown, see the market get into that opening range gap, but I don't know, they're stubborn. Here comes another red bar buy off of the hard edge here on the Eagle, which might see a rally back up to the highs again. So if you choose to take that, you might want to get a lot tighter with your profit target. Definitely a breakdown below the lows. I believe we'll see a signal either print here on the Falcon or the Hawk, and that would be a viable sell. And on that note, we'll close up the room for today. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. We'll see you again on Monday. Bye for now.